If you want to write, but you keep second guessing yourself. If you feel called to the creative life, but you keep silencing it because it doesn't sound logical. If you keep blaming things like writer's block or lack of ideas as to why you're not writing, then you especially need to watch this video. Overthinking and ignoring your intuition is the fastest way to not only stay stuck, but to be disconnected from the creative person that you are. And that disconnection means that the books you dream of, that the creative projects that are calling to you never get finished. You could spend your whole life never writing the novel that you've secretly longed for simply because you haven't learned how to trust yourself. And that's what this video is about: how to trust your creative intuition and believe in yourself as a writer. Learning to trust your intuition can help you become a more confident writer, have faith in your ideas and the things that you're naturally drawn to, build a better relationship with yourself as a creative and as a woman, experience a more fulfilling writing life, and tap into the treasure troves of ideas that are inside you already just waiting to be written. Here's a breakdown of the chapters in this video so you know exactly how it'll be structured, and let's dive in. So what is creative intuition? We already know what intuition is. It's that ability to understand something without a need for reason. It's that immediate gut reaction, that immediate response. But I think creative intuition goes a step further than that. It's the part of us that desires to write or create or express ourselves in some way. It's that inner compass that's always guiding us towards storytelling and art. And I think it also rules the things that you're naturally drawn to, your obsessions. Those books, movies, themes, topics, aesthetics that you're always drawn to, that always inspire you and that light you up inside. So for me, for example, I am always naturally drawn towards girlhood and early 2000s and 90s nostalgia, the working class. I can't really explain it. I just love reading about these things, and of course I love writing about them. And I took all these tiny obsessions and I ended up forming them into a full novel. I trusted my inner compass for over 4 years and I just kept writing, and eventually it turned into a book. So if you're ever feeling pulled towards something creatively and you don't know why, or maybe you even feel silly, it's not random, it's your creative intuition and it's worth listening to. So how do we lose touch with our intuition? Well, most of us have been trained to second guess ourselves constantly in all areas of our life, but in the terms of creativity, this doubt can often come when we focus too much on the product rather than the process, when we measure our worth in the outcome rather than simply the act of making something. So we start to second guess ourselves before we're even allowed to begin. We might think, oh, I'm not going to be good at this right away, so what's the point? Or I don't have a clear plan mapped out, so it's probably just going to fall apart anyway. That is all coming from our logical mind, our left brain that's trying to protect us. But what it ends up doing is just drowning our intuition. And sometimes it's not just internal either. If you share with someone that you're pursuing a creative path, it could be met with concern or skepticism or even just straight negativity. And they might not see this as practical, and then you can kind of pick up on that doubt as well. So when we listen to them or the voice inside us that echoes that fear, we lose touch with the quiet truth inside us. So if you find yourself meeting your creative desires with suspicion, hesitation, or judgment, most likely you're thinking with your left brain instead of your heart. So how do we reconnect with our creative intuition? I'm gonna break down 3 action steps that you can implement in your life today. And I just wanna say this isn't about ignoring feedback or like never editing. This is just about trusting your gut versus refining with intention. Number 1, write to discover, not to control. No matter what you do in your creative life, you're going to have to start with a blank page. You're going to have to start with nothing. And when you start to put words on that page, those words are going to be crap. And that's okay. That is how the process works. So turning off that internal editor means you're writing to discover instead of to control the story. You're writing to figure out who the characters are, what the setting is, what the vibe, instead of trying to control it into this box where there's no curiosity, there's no playfulness. You think you know everything that's going to happen. And in something like a first draft or the beginning of a project, it's so much more fulfilling to have a more open mind and understand that you're sort of not in control, and let your intuition and let your creative interests take over and write to discover. I've talked about this in another video. One of the biggest breakthroughs in my life is when I started writing in a more playful and curious manner instead of thinking that I needed to know everything before I can start. And turning off that internal editor will naturally allow you to connect with that creative intuition. You are giving it space to speak up. You're being quiet to listen to it. And you're allowing that part of you to have a voice and to be guided. I've said this before, but there is literally nothing better in your writing life than having a day where you read back what you wrote and you're just so surprised about where that came from. And that is your creative intuition. It came from that beautiful place inside of you when you let go of control and you let yourself have space to see what's really inside. Number 2, creativity lives in the body. Creativity is not just in your head, it's a bodily experience. And I think sometimes we often forget that movement is beyond exercise. Movement is deep breaths. Movement is a way to connect with ourselves on a deeper level. It's reminding us that we take up space, that we're humans, and it's a pivotal part of our creative life. A book I highly recommend is Writing Begins with the Breath by Lorraine Herring. And she says, deep writing requires presence in your whole being, whatever it looks like, whatever its limitations. Move into your body and you will move into your writing. So to build trust with yourself and reconnect with your creative intuition, don't ignore your physical body. If you think about intuition, when you get a gut reaction to something, you feel it physically. And I don't know about you, but if I think about a scene I really want to write or a line of dialogue or just an image that excites me, that I end up feeling butterflies in my stomach. It's a physical response to that desire to create. So often when I feel stuck and I have no idea what to write, I'll go for a walk. And more often than not, I'll end up getting some idea as my body is in motion. So check in with your physical body, even if that just means a deep cleansing breath, and it will help you connect with your creative intuition even further. Number 3, let your vision lead. Now I'll explain what this means. I'm taking this from a writer friend of mine, Suzanne Grove. She is an amazing writer and one of the fiction editors at Write or Die magazine. And a few months ago, she wrote a craft essay for the Write or Die newsletter that just completely blew me away, as most things that she writes does. But in this piece, she said, everything you do as a writer should be in service of your vision. We get so bogged down with craft, with plot mechanics, the right way to write a book, the wrong way to write a book, what other people on social media are doing and publishing. And it ends up just being information overload. We are just taking in so much information about writing and about books, it's no wonder we're not feeling inspired. All that noise can completely drown out your intuition. So instead of saying, what do I like, what do I want, we start saying, what do others expect of me? And in the context of this essay, Suzanne talks about this in terms of plot. She talks about how there is no such thing as a plotless novel because plot is an interaction and there's always interactions happening, so we really shouldn't be so bogged down with plot mechanics and what plot means, but that's a different video. But in this discourse, Suzanne says that she doesn't want to be asked about the plot of what she's writing. She wants to be asked about her vision, because that is the most important thing to a writer. What excited you when you started writing? What sounded fun? What brought you to the page initially, no matter how small? Maybe it was a little interaction you saw between two characters and there was a sunset in the background and you got really excited about the idea of describing all those colors. For me, I wanted to write about being a waitress, and not in some big, grand way, but in the small ones. The quick glances behind the line in the kitchen, the excitement and discomfort of moving around a room and know you're being watched. All those little moments of tension were fun for me to explore, and that's what brought me to the page. Suzanne says, everything, every damn thing should be in service of your vision. The form, the tense, the POV, the syntax, the voice, the style, the process. Whether you type the whole story or novel with your thumbs on your phone in bed for 20 minutes every day over the course of 2 years, or sit for 5 hours upright handwriting on a legal pad for a decade, should all flow out of your vision. Don't put the rules first, put the vision first. And your creative intuition will thrive on this. Not only will you remember that writing is fun and exciting, but it will get you more connected with your obsessions and the things that inspire you. And in exploring those things in whatever way you want, you're going to build trust in yourself as a writer. And you're going to build confidence in the things that you have to say. And remember, building trust and confidence doesn't mean that you are never questioning anything. It just means you're listening when something feels exciting or when something feels off and honoring that. Your vision comes first. That's your compass. So to wrap up, I just want to remind you that if you're struggling with any of these things, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not behind, you're not bad at this. It is really natural. You're just learning how to listen. And the more you practice your intuition, even in these tiny ways, the stronger it will become. Writing is a practice, and even for myself, where I've already written a novel and I'm about to start writing my second, I still have to work on this all the time. I still have so many moments of doubt and doubting my ideas, doubting my abilities. Anytime I hit a bump in the road, I am questioning, can I do this? I think that's normal. Intuition isn't just a switch that you flip on, it's something that you build. It's a relationship that you build. And because it's a practice, it's just gonna keep evolving, just like you. And if you feel like fears around your writing are holding you back, I have a little gift for you. If you click the link in the description, you'll see my self-guided 8-day reset called Fearless Writer. Each day we break down a fear that writers often encounter, how to overcome it with action steps, as well as mantras and creative prompts to keep you writing and to keep helping you build that creative intuition. So you can find all that below, or you can check out this video here if you're curious about a mindset adjustment similar to the ones we talked about today that helped me write my first novel. So I'll see you over there or in my next one. Bye.